Senator Rand Paul has been known to try and zone in on the C-19 virus and our country's alleged connections in funding it. Now, in a recent hearing, Paul, he went off on Secretary of State Anthony Blinken as they continued to refuse giving up information about what really happened behind the scenes. Any idea as to why he would do that? The president of Mexico just called a U.S. State Department study that describes his country in a bad light as lies, and that the United States should probably look in a mirror when it comes to human rights. Ouch. Are your expenses a bit more pricey these days? Well, expect worse news as the Federal Reserve just raised interest rates yet again, and I got a whole list of items that are for sure to weigh even heavier from now on. Now, with more challenges being faced as working Americans each day, more people are certain that we're headed in the wrong direction, with some even saying that the help that we're providing overseas has only weakened our nation once again. Do you guys agree with that? Now, before I continue, please take a second, smash the like button for the video. That definitely helps out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to the channel and are in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to what's going on in Washington, D.C., Social Security, SSI, SSDI, the stock market, the housing market, and everything that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and make sure your notification bell's turned on. And for the best way to invest in gold, hit the link in the description down below this video. So I got a question. Do you guys think that the government lies to us? Serious question. It's kind of a rhetorical question, by the way, but hearing it come from people who's on the outside looking in, well, that makes it much more interesting. So Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has said that the report and criticism of violations in human rights in his country by a U.S. State Department are all lies. The report says that there have been arbitrary killings by police, military, and other officials within Mexico, even saying that human rights abuses and corruption were spread out and violence against journalists were also being done. So López Obrador said that the United States tries so hard to be the government of the world, and also said that, quote, it's not worth getting angry about. That's just how they are, end quote. Do you guys agree that our country meddles too much with other countries around the world? And while our government continues to keep itself busy with global conflicts, the Federal Reserve has just raised interest rates by 25 basis points, even with Americans fearing the worst for the banking system. But what happens now? To be frank, not much is being felt on the cooling off of inflation, even though we're being fed this story that the economy is doing much better. Here's what else will happen due to this rate hike. Do you guys have credit card debt? Expect the APR on your annual percentage rate of that credit card debt to hit almost 20% on average. Student loans have not been forgiven, and since these are also affected by interest rates, it's more than likely going to be going up again. So just for context, it spiked from 3.73% to 4.99% last year alone. And if you're looking to buy a car, you're not in luck, as auto financing interest rates on a 5-year car loan has almost doubled since January of last year, from 3.86 to 6.48. And I know that Fed Chair Jerome Powell has talked about pain last year, but this is more like torture on our wallets right now, except if you happen to own gold or silver. Those have actually gone up due to this news. And for the best way to invest in gold, there is a link in the description down below this video. Now, I guess this is why it's not a wonder that, recent polls have shown that 3/4, or around 72% of Americans, are saying that our country is on the wrong track and that this is not the direction that we should be going. Around 60% of Americans are saying that their household income is falling behind the cost of living, and that only 30% are now keeping up with the costs. The Americans who are falling behind on the cost of living, or the ones who can continue to afford these high costs, there's also talks that while we try and continue to make Ukraine strong, we are at the same time continuing to make the United States weak. What are you guys' thoughts on that? And what are your thoughts on Senator Rand Paul and his pursuit of the truth when it comes to the C-19 virus? This is him grilling Secretary of State Anthony Blinken for not providing information that Blinken confirmed that he would provide in previous conversations. Here, watch this.
On September 12th and November 7th of last year, I sent letters to the State Department asking for records about coronavirus research that had been funded by the State Department. The State Department refused to comply. When Assistant Secretary Sherman came, I asked her the same question. She didn't seem to be aware that you had been funding coronavirus research, but you are. And I got the "I'll get back to you" line. A couple weeks later, I met personally with you at the State Department and asked you the same question. Will you not divulge to us the records of the State Department's support for coronavirus research, particularly in China? You assured me you would help. We communicated several times over the phone with another Assistant Secretary of State. who finally sent us a letter and said, no, we're not going to give you anything. So that's where we stand. And it's my question is, what's the State Department hiding? Why won't you give these records to the American people?
Senator, thank you. And yes, I appreciated you raising this when we saw each other a month or so ago. And my understanding is that our teams have been working to find an accommodation. There's longstanding practice.
We got a refusal, blanket refusal. No, they are not going to give us the records.
We cannot directly provide the
Sure you can.
unredacted cables. We have a longstanding practice with this committee about how we do
You're
things.
you're refusing to release them.
No, but
it's
I
not
think-
that you can't. There's a difference between can and may. You won't do it, but you can do it.
My hope is that we can find a way forward that answers your concerns so that you get the information that you're looking for. My understanding is that our teams have been working on that, and I commit to continue to do that so we can get you the
We're talking about unclassified material. Most of this is unclassified. And so we just had a unanimous vote in the Senate and in the House, and President Biden just signed a bill saying he's going to declassify stuff. But if you declassify it and you still hide it from the American people, that's a problem. I mean, we spend all of this time lambasting authoritarians and for lack of transparency. We have these silly networks on TV that are aligned with the Democrat Party saying democracy's under attack. Well, do you think transparency has something to do with democracy? You're refusing to give records on research. Money that went for research. We want to read the research grant proposals. We want to read what the people in Wuhan sent back to the State Department saying they did. Which viruses did they create? Because the thing is it sounds all great. We're going to identify all the viruses of the world. But part of what they do is they take a virus they found 200 feet down in a cave and they mix it with another virus to create a virus that doesn't exist in nature because they say that's how we're going to further identify it. There's a big debate that should be had whether that's safe. To take a virus from 100 feet down a bat cave 12 hours south of Wuhan and take it to a city of 10 million. And yet you won't help us investigate this. You refuse, and it is reminiscent of the countries we criticize for lack of transparency, and yet you sit there and say you're still going to continue to reviews.
Here's my question. Is Senator Rand Paul alone in wanting to know if we funded these researchers in Wuhan? Do any of you guys want to know what happened too? And if we do find out that the United States and some of its officials did fund it, will they be held accountable? Will anybody be held liable? Should they be? Let me know in the comments down below, guys. This year is really not going as well for many of us, and we've just gotten through a handful of months. I noticed that a lot of comments are saying that more of us need help, and that's true. And it's also why I'd like to give you guys a chance at some opportunities. With inflation hitting our wallets and forcing more of us to use credit cards, it's only logical that we push for a stronger cash flow. Multiple streams of income will be great given that some side hustles and small businesses can be started with little to no money. You can also look to invest in real estate or the stock market given that opportunities are opening up there as well. You're only limited to what you allow yourself to become. And I know that there are countless winners in our community right here. And if you guys want to learn more about how to get back to financial freedom, feel free to join us over in the Patreon community where we talk about starting small businesses, side hustles, affiliate marketing, online businesses, you name it. But before I go, guys, please don't forget to drop a thumbs up for the video. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next video.